Good day. If you want to listen to a 38-year-old man drone on for 10 minutes about putting little tiny wheels in his rollerblades so he can grind things easier, you've come to the right place. So, I tried skating anti-rocker from about late last year, November-ish, to now, so that's, I always have to count on my hands. November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So, 8 months. I wanted to give it a good try because last time I tried it, I really didn't like it. I was watching too much Alex Broskow footage, and in the wintertime in Canada, you think a lot about skating, so you'll watch things like Alex Broskow and you'll put yourself in his shoes. Because skating looks so easy when you watch it, I thought, yeah, I'm going to try anti-rocker and I'm going to be really good and get really good at grinds. Because I've never been a strong grinder. I've always had a very standard resume, not overly technical or anything. But I told the story on a podcast, I think, and I remember going up a quarter pipe to do a back royale, and that pivot that you get in flat, that last minute little pivot, I had that sticky feeling of anti, and I messed up my wrist. And I just didn't like the way that it felt, and I think I was in skates that were too small. So it was Colin Martin did a post about anti, and there was one other. There was a couple other people that made me interested in anti. You can listen to the podcast about it, and I remember going back, trying it again, in kind of fall going into winter last year, and remembering that same feeling of like, holy shit, it feels like the middle of my skate is missing, that there's wheels missing, that I'm on train tracks. It feels horrible. Going over cracks feels bad. But doing frontsides, royales, torques, backslides, unities, all that stuff I had learned on anti-rocker way back when. So there was this feel that came back that I actually started, outside of the feeling of skating around, which is very important for that to feel good. The grinding felt fun. So here's all my notes on anti-rocker. This is, I didn't try any other frames. I tried lots of different kinds of wheels, but I was in the medium size 50/50 frames, which are 250 millimeters. And I had a pair of Featherlights. I was going to try them. I was going to try K2 frames, but I just really liked how solid the 50/50 frames were. So that's what I've been using. And note number 1. Get to the page right here. I prefer the shorter frames. So it looks kind of weird on a medium boot. I think 260 millimeter would be perfect, but 270 millimeter for a size 9-10 boot felt way too long and train tracky. I tried going to the mediums for a little bit, then I tried going to the larges just to see. The larges were good for some things, but they just felt sticky is the best way I can describe it. If you were skating on perfect surfaces at all times, the large could be good. Or if you like a really stable ride and you don't like to do a lot of turning or swiveling or anything, but I found I was able to do some of the swivelly stuff in this size. So I like the small. Although this is not a small, this is a medium. Getting into 240 and 230 millimeter would look crazy. And I have taken a couple weird falls where I press too hard here or here, and it's having a little bit more length. Would be nice. And I guess maybe I'll get into that later, but there's a certain anti-rocker stance and stride that I ended up doing that I didn't like. Wheel quality and hardness is very important. I tried a whole bunch of different kinds of wheels, and I found that the 90A, 92A range was the best. Anything that's too soft is going to wear out quickly, especially because if you're taller and heavier, if you're a large dad on rollerblades. I'm not like heavy, but I'm just up here in Canada, we are large people. We're above average rollerblading height. The first time we saw pro rollerbladers in person, we were shocked at how tall we were, not at how short they were, because they have the like rollerblading body type, but we're all 6 feet up here. So when you think of how high my head is off the ground and how far away the wheels are, your wheels have to be good quality. So I tried a bunch of stuff. I really liked the squarish profile that ends up turning into kind of like a roundish profile. That's the undercover 5890. That's the muzzle 59. I think it's a 90 or 92. And that's the Orange Wheel Company. Oh, look at that flat spot. 5992. I can see why Dead has gone with it's not necessarily a super round profile, and it's not a flat profile. It's kind of like it wears as a roundish profile. That's what I liked the most. I mean, this one starts out as square, but then it ends up going into that. Yeah, 9092 and a 58 or a 59 with a kind of roundish, squarish profile is good. I'm in the that UC Conjure Sick Urethane Rollerblade Hydrogen, the roundish profile right now, and I really like it. It's nice and fast, but it's not that stable classic. If your Anti-Rock is already a very classic, nostalgic, traditional setup, so it fits really well with a more square profile wheel for me. The face profile I didn't like. One thing I liked about Anti that makes a lot of sense is the simplicity and cost effectiveness of it. So you could grind a huge groove in these frames and just get new wheels and bearings for the outside and just replace them and ride these frames into the ground. I liked that, and I liked not having to take these wheels out. I like being able to switch frames and have this super accessible to switch frames in and out. So the simplicity is good. I like that. And just buying 4 wheels and new bearings for the outside is great. Yeah, switching frames can be easier. You can wear in a giant groove, just put wheels and bearings in. You can still get wheel bite. I'll get that later. You can still get wheel bite in urethane anti-rocker wheels. So these are those 50-50 ones that I've enjoyed them quite a bit. There's less stick with these ones. Ooh, do I need to tighten that? Skate sounds, anything loose in a skate, those skate sounds are very offensive. I remember getting wheel bite. I thought like you could still go up to unwax things, but not the case. It's not a perfect cure for wheel bite. So just remember, you have to use wax still. Although it'd be nice if there was some setup that you didn't have to use wax as much. What else have we got here? Going over cracks in anti-rocker and skating rough, weather-beaten Kamloops cement is probably one of the worst feelings you can have on skates. It makes me hate rollerblading. It makes rollerblading, which is already can be awkward and weird and alien feeling, it just enhances all of the worst parts of the way skating feels. And it sometimes makes me feel like I'm in soap shoes or adult Heelys. There is sometimes no smoothness at all. and there's some bad pavement in Kamloops, or you're having a good time, and or you're coming off of a trick sometimes, and if the pavement's rough, your skate sometimes slows down to the point that you have to do a little skateboard push to get out, which I heard the term skateboard shoes and I thought it was really funny. Anti-rocker does feel like skateboard shoes. A lot of unnecessary striding as well. I think rollerblading looks really good when there's minimal strides happening, or people already have their speed and they're in control, and boy oh boy, you gotta make some awkward strides and some unnecessary strides to get speed. Really don't like that. If you love, it's lighter, which I don't know how important that is for me. It's really light, because there's no extra urethane in the middle, but is light that important? I don't know if it is, especially coming from, Wizard frames, which they're not light, but I love skating them, and I love all of the skating that I do in them and the way skating feels. So I think that's something over time, maybe I would take advantage of them feeling lighter, but if that's an important thing for you, that's great. If you're a fan of going in a straight line and grinding an object, Anti-rocker is perfect for you. You'll love Anti. You just go in a straight line, and you jump on, and you slide, and you jump off. Simple. Groove design matters less. You could have a big, wide, sloppy groove, or a small groove, groove design is really important in flat, and for Anti it's not. You can even see right here how that's already wearing in. That would be death if I put wheels in the middle now, but in Anti it just doesn't matter. So I guess that falls under the simplicity category, that groove design is not that important. Old frames can be given new life. So you could flip these around, or you could take old frames that you were skating flat and pop some Anti-rocker wheels in, and just not worry about grinding sloppily in the groove. It's very linear feeling, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. That just comes down to your style preference. And I find myself doing this weird, trying to keep my balance centered. There's a pose with Anti-rocker skating, and a way to hold your arm and a way to stride, and it's not feeling natural for me. And I think that comes down to being just a larger, taller person. And I have a theory that people with size 8, 7-ish skates and under that are shorter and have like a smaller, more wiry frame, like pretty much a lot of major pros in the sport, and in the history of the sport, that Anti-rocker suits them very well. But when you think of these two little contact points, 4 altogether, supporting a 6-foot person that's almost 40 years old and like 180 pounds, or I'm below average the 38-year-old man weight right now, but you think of all of that being supported by these two wheels, and the skates almost feel more like little toys than a grown-up, strong, responsive device. So I almost think, this is really weird, but if these wheels were spaced out and there was extra wheels, so it would be a 6-wheel frame, and then you would have these wheels rocketed in and these wheels slightly rocketed up, so it would be Anti-rocker, but there would be 6 wheels. So you'd be supported by 2 wheels here, 2 wheels there. You'd have a rocker so it could turn. That would be amazing. I almost think that's like the Bigfoot or larger person anti-rocker setup. When you think about it, I have a new appreciation for wish frames and high-low frames, because it's in that vein, or that way of thinking. So I'm excited to go back to my wish frames and try the medium wish frames after this, because it just feels like, for my size and my skating preferences, it feels like there's wheels missing. It's extra hard on the body too. Again, thinking of these, taking all of the shock and all of the cracks and all of the rough pavement, and also when you turn, the little twists on your knees. I found I got more sore skating anti-rocker. I have a big head. It's really far off the ground. It's amazing to think these wheels are supporting it. These couple wheels. That's pretty much everything for now. I think I'll go back to it here and there. And I love being able to frontside, backside, Royale, back Royale, backslide, torque, Favre with no overthinking. Like, you can do it. You have to think way less and be less precise. So I love it for that, and I love it for the classic, traditional, nostalgic feel. And I do kind of like the way it looks. That's just because I'm programmed. I've seen so many great photos and videos growing up of people in anti, but I do think it works better for someone shorter with a smaller foot. And I think something like the wish frame or flat works better for someone who's taller and bigger with a bigger foot. But I would recommend trying it if you haven't tried it. And if you live somewhere that has perfect pavement with no cracks, definitely give it a whirl. That's everything. Thank you for watching. Keep skating or something.